At Starbucks, we've more than doubled paid parental leave, now up to 18 weeks. Which means Starbucks baristas can spend more time with the best company they know, their families. At Starbucks, benefits like parental leave are just the start.
The 7-seat Volvo EX90 is a car made for finding tranquility in Midtown traffic with a serene Scandinavian interior. The fully electric Volvo EX90 is perfect for New York. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay. And you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture. And Candice, the discourse that was all over my For You page over the weekend is something called the Gen Z stare. And as sort of the resident, dare I expose you, Gen Zer of this duo.
Yeah.
I want to know, have you ever encountered this? Have you ever done this? Have you heard of this?
Yeah, so here I go speaking for my community.
Yeah.
I did not know what this was when you brought it to me. And then I thought about it. I just did it. I just did it literally a day ago.
Wow. Oh my God. Literally a day ago. Okay. So you're primed to tell us about it. But maybe let's start first for everyone else who maybe hasn't come across this yet. Here is a TikTok that's kind of breaking down what the Gen Z stare is and what it looks like. And we'll kind of commentate over as needed.
I worked in a boutique for almost a year, and I got Gen Z stared at all the time, so here's my impression. Hey, how are you?
Okay, and it's just kind of like a dead look.
Yeah.
Are you looking for anything in particular today? Can I help you find anything, or are you just looking around?
Again.
Kind of judgy.
Staring.
Looking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me know if you need help with anything.
And we're staring again. So yeah, you get it at this point.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm in this post and I don't like it. Because basically, Kate, here's the story. I was on an airplane recently, right? Because I was hanging out with you and the ICYMI team.
Right. You were on an airplane leaving me. Leaving on a jet plane.
Never coming back again. And I'm on the plane. I'm sitting there watching Challengers. Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
And
yes. Great plane movie.
I know. And flight attendant comes up to me. They're at my side and they just go, hi. And I went, hi. Pause. Why are you here? You're not giving me anything. I'm sure they were also like, why am I standing over your body? Pause. They point over my head. I had accidentally hit the button to like trigger the like flight attendant, please come help me. It was a complete accident. I never do that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I accident. And they went, okay, walked away.
Okay, so that's permissible. You were a Gen Z and you were staring, but that is permissible as opposed to the Gen Z stare because, that was an accident and that's quite funny. Really makes me laugh. The Gen Z stare, as I've seen it described on TikTok, is kind of like two different things. So mostly retail workers and service workers have noticed that when they ask a Gen Z person a question like, what would you like today? Like literally the purpose of their whole interaction, the Gen Z person will like take a beat, do this blank stare. They'll maybe process is what we assume is happening. And then they'll answer if at all. But another part of this, there's the question being asked that's like relevant to the transaction. And then there's the questions you ask because we're all people existing in society. And so you walk right up to the barista and one of you probably goes, hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. You just do that little small talk. Small talk is kind of one of the things at the heart of this issue is that in defending themselves in the comments, Gen Z is being like, well, we don't like small talk. What's the point of small talk? I'm not going to respond to your stupid questions. So again, as the resident Gen Z or Candice, over to you. What do you think about small talk?
I know. Unfortunately, I have to rep my community. So I think small talk is obviously a very intergenerational conflict. I am sure George Washington had the same issues when he was on that horse or that Paul Revere. Paul Revere was on the horse. Okay.
Paul Revere had a horse. I mean, I'm sure George Washington had a horse.
But yeah, they had to deal with small talk. Yeah. So my deal with small talk is that as an INFJ, I know, groundbreaking, I really used to hate it. I used to be very like, just get to the point, don't waste time. And then I became my father. Okay, last week I became my father where I where I told you this story. I went out to dinner by myself in New York, had some udon.
Yeah.
Why am I having a 1-hour conversation with the waitress about her ex-boyfriend's ex-boyfriend? Okay?
Yeah.
Like I'm that person now. And the thing is, when we talk about small talk, we talk about this phenomenon, the Gen Z stare, ordering a coffee, right? Asking like, can I have a da-da-da-da? Not necessarily small talk, right? It's kind of necessary talk.
Yeah, that's necessary talk. And here's the thing, like my perspective on this is definitely informed by working in retail.
Sure.
My first job when I moved to New York was at a yarn store. And literally you would be kind of moved around the store depending on what needed to be done. But if you were in the front winding yarn, your job was just to say hi to people who came in.
Right.
And I am not joking, of any age, 50% of the people, when I would say, hi, how are you to them, would not acknowledge me. Like they weren't Gen Z, they weren't even teenagers, they'd be old, young. Half the people just do not see you, do not hear you. You are a furniture to them when you're in a store.
And that's not Gen Z stare. That's called ignoring. Yeah.
That's called ignoring. And so I will say that like treating service workers weirdly is not just a Gen Z issue, but sort of the thing being described, like we said, it's like 2 points. One is this a necessary conversation where it's like, would you like milk in your coffee? And you're getting a stare. Or it is, how are you doing? How's the weather? Blah, blah, blah. That gets a stare. And so when I think about, the small talk thing, that comes down to, I see in the comments Gen Zers being like, well, I don't want to have a stupid conversation. I think what you're saying is dumb. And it's like, okay, if that's the life you want to live, that's fine. So we're going to put the small talk to the side, but that's one aspect of it. I am most intrigued by this idea of like asking a question that like the worker needs an answer to proceed and getting a stare. And I think it might be like biological almost, because this isn't even all Gen Zers who do this. I think it is the younger, because Gen Z is as young as 13 right now. And if you're 13, your like formative socializing years were during the pandemic when everything was on Zoom. And so like Zoom is kind of the only place, well, the internet in general, where socialization can be like passive. And so like, you can be in a room of people on Zoom and you can have your camera off. You can't turn your camera off in real life. Or you can even have your camera on, but you can just kind of sit there. You don't need to be like engaging in the conversation. You're being talked at. And so I kind of feel like if that was your formative socialization, you didn't learn to do those kind of visual cues that we all just do without thinking that show that we're listening. So we both do it to each other on the podcast. We'll just be like, or we're doing a lot of nodding. Like you just do things to encourage the conversation because you're like, yes, I hear you. I get it. When people don't do that, it drives me crazy. I had a teacher in high school who just, his expression wouldn't change as you answered a question. And I will keep talking until you make some sort of acknowledgement that I'm saying the right thing. And so I would just go and go and go. And so that's kind of what I think is happening here, where they're hearing you and they're understanding, but they're taking a beat to process, but they don't have that kind of like, oh, let me think about it, or what milk do I want, or like, how should I be crazy and get whipped cream? Like all those thoughts are happening, but their face just isn't showing it. And someone was saying it's like they imagine the Gen Z stare is when, in Fleabag, she talks to the camera, but the people in the realm of the show are like, where'd you go? People think she's doing the Gen Z stare, and all that's happening behind it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give two possible defenses / explanation of what's really going on. So the first one just being that I do think the Zoom of it all is definitely there. My hot take is I wonder if it's because, hey, broadband access, very disparate depending on the classes and just where you are. I feel like something I've learned from Zoom is that like I do purposely give people a beat before responding because I don't want to interrupt them. It's a delay thing. So is it possible that these kids after 4 years, they've learned to kind of just like pause, wait for mommy to respond, and then they like go at it, and that's just kind of them. The other thing too, though, is that when people on TikTok, including yourself, show me what Gen Z stare is, it's also the face. There is kind of like a droopiness, dead-eyedness to it. And I wonder if it's because Those IRL reactions are one of the only times in the last few years they have not been able to self-view, see themselves. Whereas on Zoom, all you do is look at yourself.
Obviously.
So maybe there's just no performance. There is kind of a dropping of the performance, and this is what you're getting, which is like someone who's been traumatized by 4 years of Zoom and not going to prom.
Yeah. Like I don't actually think I think there's a subset that is just enjoying having a sort of fight on TikTok that are saying it's malicious. I don't actually think it's malicious. I agree. I think it's just something like it's a dropping of the performance, like you said. They're just taking a beat to think, but they just weren't raised with the necessary kind of visual markers that you're doing that. And I assume they'll adapt to us, or there's a world in which we all start Gen Z staring.
Yeah, and I would say they were raised to do this in their most formative yet performative years, and those were taken away from them. I'll say two things, too, in the comments. I'm seeing a lot of like, ha ha ha, Gen Z doesn't even know what Gen Z stare is. Me. And then I'm seeing a lot of like, oh, this is them dissociating, which, by the way, 100%. 100%. You see me on the subway, I'm staring at the wall. I am dissociating. That is Gen Z stare. 100%.
But I will say, if I'm trying to serve you a coffee, please associate with me. Come back.
Oh,
Come back.
Yeah.
Because there are some. Well, here's the thing: is this an overblown TikTok panic? Almost for sure, yes. Because when they say Gen Z keeps getting the stare wrong, what they're saying and what they're referring to are these videos of Gen Zers talking about it in the context of like it's a look they give customers who ask stupid questions, which is not what it is. But this like commitment to not understanding it. Some people are saying that that's Gen Z, like not wanting to, I don't know, take accountability for whatever this is. But I just think this is, I think this is more of a TikTok discourse thing than it is an actual thing that happens in real life.
Right. And then speaking of the TikTok at all, clearly the first question I ask is like, oh, does this have anything to do with millennial pause? Is this Gen Z's millennial pause? But that's not like totally right?
No. All it has to do with the millennial pause is that people are bringing up the millennial pause again. And because of this, discovering my video again.
Oh, sure.
And
yes.
Threatening to make my life hell again because I made the video about the millennial pause that has currently 2 million views. Worst month of my life. And now they're finding it again. And so that's the only way they're related is like, I would say they're like foils of each other, is that millennials pause before they film to check if it's recording because they're not native to existing in a digital space. They are not native to TikTok. Gen Z and this stare and however much weight we want to give it, that's happening because they're not native to like IRL small talk. Like we said, like their first socialization was through a screen. And so they do have to take a beat to think when those sort of especially unexpected or unfamiliar moments of socialization are happening like out in the wild.
Yeah. And so millennials and Gen Z, they may once again be divided, but I would say that nothing brings people back together better than a common enemy. I know this from my freshman year roommate. It's true. And so today we are talking about the new public enemy number one, logging in.
Yes. Not only has logging in gotten more complicated, you also can't seem to do literally anything online these days without being prompted to make an account or download an app. We're going to talk about how this is ruining kind of the whole point of the internet. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about how logging in got out of control and why what may sound like a little annoyance is actually a big problem.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states and situations.
This episode is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevy certified service technicians are factory trained to fit your vehicle with the tires specifically developed for it. And with our tire price match guarantee, you get the best fit for the best deal. Let us do the work. Available on select eligible tire brands at participating dealers only. Offer ends 12/31/2025. Terms apply. See dealer for complete details. Visit Chevrolet.com/service to learn more.
And we're back. And I just want to kick this off with sort of my personal tipping point when it comes to logging in. So a few weeks ago, me and my book club, we were upstate having a little upstate retreat. Very cute, yes. And there was a day where I had finished up work. It was like a Friday afternoon. But, you know, everyone else in the house was working sort of a very butts in seats, spreadsheets. I don't understand their jobs. But they were like there till 6 p.m. And so I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a little like run/hike in this nearby trail. I go to this trail. It looks pretty simple. It looks like a loop. I'm doing it. At one point, it like spits me out onto the road and I have to get back on the trail. Like that's part of it. But I was like, that'll be clear where I re-enter the trail. It was not. It was like beaming sun. I could not figure out where to enter the trail. I was on a road I did not know, and I hardly had service. But I was like, well, I know that online, if I can probably access some type of map that'll tell me where I am. And I could. This trail was on a platform called All Trails. So I go to be like, oh my God, I'm saved. I'm no longer stranded in the middle of upstate New York. But I try to load the map, and it's like, you have to download our app. And so I literally, at first I'm like, no, I won't do that. But then I'm running out of options. I can't figure out where to go. And so I try to download the app. It takes so long because I have like 1 bar of service.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if a bear had been chasing me? Like, I got out, obviously, because I found my way back to this podcast studio. But it took a lot. And like the whole vibe of my like run/hike was ruined because I spent most of it being confused trying to download an app instead of quite literally touching grass. And I don't know, Candice, do you have your own version of this?
I mean, first off, so relatable, right? Because, like, unfortunately, I think the version where you are being chased by a bear and you get prompted to download an app, it's so Tim Robinson coded.
Yes,
like, It's funny, also daunting.
It's literally like, I am going to die out here, and they're going to see on my phone that, like, the app is probably still downloading. And it'll be poetic, but it'll be annoying for me personally.
No, my truly biggest fear is that if I get into a car crash, and the EMT finds me and obviously makes it onto NBC4 News, the thing they'll say is like, and she was listening to a podcast, and it's Los Culturistas saying some of the horniest stuff in their life. God. And it's like, I was listening to that.
Still going because it's still going during the like, sort of recovery of it all.
Exactly.
I think about that too.
But so relatable. I think for me, mine's a little more domestic, which is that I have to say that my fridge, my microwave, my stove, they are all different brands. You know, this is how it works at Home Depot. You have different deals, da-da-da-da. But the issue is that when I installed all of these appliances, the first thing they asked me literally was like, Bluetooth connectivity. I sense a microwave. Is it LG? Is it Samsung?
What?
Is it GE?
It sensed a microwave.
It sensed a microwave was in the room with me with the pad thai. And it basically was asking me so many times, download the app. Here's a QR code. Open the pad thai. QR code. Like, it was begging me, trolling me, telling me, download the app to somehow elevate my experience with my stove. And I think there's 2 questions I have. Number one, why? Why? I just wanted to put an apple in the fridge. Why do I need to download an app to do that? But 2, like, I have so many competing companies living in my kitchen. I have Samsung telling me you need me to turn on your stove. Not true. I have LG telling me, but your microwave needs to be controlled by this app to control this temperature. And it's just like, none of my appliances talk to each other, but also why do I need to talk to them through an app? You are an appliance. You are literally just a box.
You were the original app, an appliance.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
No, this makes me think of, there's that tweet, I'm so sorry. I just...
This blue ski?
This Blue Sky post.
Yeah.
Apologies. This Blue Sky post that I really loved. That was hold on, let me get up. This is what bugs me about Blue Sky. I'm like, what's your name? And it's like one big you're a Rob Measure, a guy named Rob.
Let's go there. Yeah.
All right, so this actually reminds me of a Blue Sky post that has really made me laugh, and also like a moment in history. The first time a Blue Sky post made me laugh.
Sure.
Is this moment right here. But it is a post from someone named Rob Measure, and he has a screenshot of like a login page, and it's captioned, "I've been logged out of my toothbrush." And what the login page is for something called the Oral-B IO, and it says, "You've been logged out. Log back into your account to continue your Oral-B brushing experience." And so I actually was looking into this because I refer to this tweet. No, it's a Blue Sky post. I have referred to this Blue Sky post multiple times in instances talking about this logging on issue. And so I was like, wait, let me actually get to the bottom of what this even is. What do you mean I'm logged out of my toothbrush?
Yeah.
So it's called the Oral-B IO. It is $119. And it is like a smart toothbrush. And I'm like, okay, but what do you need to log in for? So it says, connect this brush to your smartphone to get real-time feedback on your brushing habits. And I was like, what does that mean? And so I looked at the reviews, and it seems that the app like tracks where you're brushing, the pressure you're applying, and like parts you've neglected. It kind of gamifies it almost, because people were saying that like, oh, they saw they missed a spot, so now they want to get more. So like, it is a good idea.
Can I talk about this, though? Yeah. Can I talk about this, though? Because this happened to me. Wow.
Logged out a toothbrush?
This happened to me where I, at one point, was on the market for a smart toothbrush.
Yeah.
I look at all my options at Target, and all of them in this little row in Target, they all had a Bluetooth connectivity situation. And I got really freaked out by it because I was like, first off, if I wanted to be shamed for my teeth, guess where I go? The dentist. But second, I just didn't like the idea that I was being monitored in that way. And if I bought it, it was me monitoring myself. So I kid you not, to this day, I use the $1 Target toothbrushes with the soft bristles. Never had a cavity.
Right. And
so there you go.
And crucially, you've never wanted to do a teeth brushing and been locked out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the issue with this. It's like, yes, the feature that you log into is helpful, but when you're logged out of it, you are prohibited from doing a thing that's like a very basic thing. I mean, my sister ran into this with her hatch alarm. So a hatch alarm is sort of, it started as like I think like a baby type alarm.
Half moon, they like glow to wake you up slowly.
Yeah. Like very soothing. I have one now too. And the reason I have one is because my sister, she had her hatch alarm. You connect it to your Wi-Fi. It has an app. That's how you sort of control the lighting and the sounds and all that. She changed her Wi-Fi. And because she changed her Wi-Fi, the hatch alarm, once paired with that Wi-Fi, was then lost and kind of like shut off. And the new Wi-Fi didn't work with it because it wasn't paired with it, to the point that like she was talking to customer service. She was doing research herself. They literally had to send her a new one. And it's like, I just want an alarm clock. Like it couldn't even tell the time. It couldn't do anything because she was on a new Wi-Fi. They ended up sending her the wrong thing, which means I got that wrong thing, and she has like the newer hatch that she wanted. So it all worked out for me, which is ultimately what's most important. But I thought it was crazy that it's like, you should still be able to use the basic tool even if you're logged out of it.
Yeah. And these are just like a few examples, but it's not just that so many places now require a login. It's also that other platforms that were previously public are now pulling away. So for example, you can't fully view even a public Twitter profile.
Yeah.
Barack's profile. It's kind of out of your hands because it'll only show their most popular tweets, but it won't show their most recent, or it won't show them in chronological order. You can't even go on a public Instagram post to like link it to someone without it telling me like, oh, you have to log in through the browser or download the app.
Yeah. It's like, it's not public. Stop saying it's public. It's not. It's not. And obviously they want you to join the platform. They want more users. But then there's an additional layer of security that people have started using. Two-factor authentication. Don't even get me started.
Yep.
I'm going to get started. Because basically what this leads to is a scenario that I was in. This is probably last year. I just wanted to pick up something from an Amazon locker. It was like, I'm not joking, like for my toilet. It was like something so boring. Yeah. And I get there, and the only way it gives you the PIN to open the locker is if you have the app. And I'd only been logged in just like through my browser.
Same.
And so I download the app, and then it's like log in, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Yeah. And so I have it like send me a recovery thing to my email. I go to my email. My email, every so often, it's like, oh, your time has expired. You have to log in again. It's another safety measure. And so I go to do that, and then often this will happen if I'm logging into one like Google product, aka Gmail. It'll be like, okay, our two-factor authentication is we've sent a pop-up to your YouTube.
Yep.
Go to YouTube and hit yes. I go to YouTube. I'm logged out. Logged out. It is genuinely maddening. And like my reward at the end was truly like the little rubber thing that basically helps your toilet go flush. It's like it's not even anything fun at the end of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And if they're not trying to get you to log in, you know, they're trying to get you to download an app in the first place.
Yeah, like I feel like we're kind of using login interchangeably with download an app because it's kind of the same purpose. Like you can browse Reddit on browser, but it's just going to keep telling you to get the app. And once you get the app, it wants you to log in. So it's just kind of all roads lead to logging in, and they get sneaky about it. Have you run into this?
I think so.
Yeah, like they will basically this happens to me on Google. I don't know if so I think this is a millennial thing. I'm realizing like I like to use my browser on my phone to do things.
I do too, though. I do too.
Yeah. I'm just like, so that's where I go to Google things, but Google doesn't want that. Google wants me to download their app. And what it does is I go search something on Google, and it goes, okay, we actually have an app. And then the two options are continue. It's a big blue button. So you want to press it because you're like, oh, that means continue with what I'm already doing. No, because the other option is like stay in browser. And that's white. And they have it like fade into the background. And so I'm constantly being sent to the app store when I don't want to be. And it's like, I don't need another app that one, Safari does it just fine.
Right.
I'm a Safari truther.
Same.
Two, I don't know, like from apps I've had to download for like one-time purposes, there's like a whole graveyard in my phone. I actually went looking before this episode to see like what are all the apps that are in my cloud that I've deleted off my phone. And it's like you need like a new weirdly named app anytime you want to go to a different concert. Like your ticket, even if you get it on Ticketmaster, is sent somewhere weird. There's apps for like ordering at restaurants, like the QR code, bane of my existence.
Me too.
Takes you to an app where you then order online. Then apps for getting into buildings, paying for parking. There's a whole slew of like COVID era apps and like vaccine card apps that are on there. I had the U-Haul app. Why did I have the U-Haul app? I like needed it probably when I moved. And but actually the most ridiculous one that I guess I had at one point, and I don't know when, was the Papa John's app.
Papa's always at the scene of the crime.
And you know what? That one, I have to imagine I got rid of it for my own good.
I will say, I think fast food apps are a huge issue with me because, for example, on my phone right now, I have the Chipotle app, I have the Panda Express app, I have the Halal Guys app. But the thing is, the only reason I downloaded those was because, like, truly, hey, I can say this. I don't like to wait for my burrito bowl. I like to get it. I like to get it there immediately. The issue is when you use DoorDash, they add so many fees on top of your like pick up Chipotle order that it's just like too much. You order it on Chipotle, pick it up, you do reduce those fees. And so this ends up becoming a money thing of like, they are telling me that I will save money if I download their app and only their app, and I can only use their app. And unfortunately, it has now created a dependent relationship where I'm just kind of like, Chipotle has rewarded me by saying I can get free guac only if I use their app. Therefore, like, I'm stuck. And Chipotle, you live on my phone forever, probably till I die. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I similarly got very anti-food delivery app for those fees. It like is an extra $10. And so what I actually do, and this is coming from a millennial, the generation who hates phone calls. you just call the restaurant and ask to pick it up. And then you're paying literally just exactly what it is on the menu. You do have to walk, which isn't fun, but you do save, like, truly. And it's $10, but $10 for what? Like, that's what I'm considering my fee for walking there at this point.
Yeah. And I do that too. I love doing that for small businesses, the round the corner like falafel shop. Mm-hmm. It would be a little weird if I started calling Chipotle, but it's okay.
Oh my God. You would get the equivalent of a Gen Z stare over the phone. They'd be like, why are you calling?
Oh, yeah. And to be honest, they should question, they should hang up. Anyway, I would say that the apps and everything we're talking about, from the logging in of it all, what this really is about is kind of how the entire experience of browsing the web has kind of quietly changed, because you can't really browse anymore. It is not frictionless. It is a walled garden. And instead of the internet being kind of this like open-ended journey, it is just so segmented. You open one app, then the next app, then the next app, and none of them are really communicating with each other. And
because if you open a New York Times article in Instagram, even if you're logged in via the New York Times app, Instagram won't know you're logged in. And so you have to go through the whole login again. And you heard about what happened at the Amazon locker. Like, I could be there for days.
Yeah, exactly. We are just getting re-traumatized over and over again by the apps that, unfortunately, we did download. Yeah. And these companies are asking for all of this info from us. But the thing is, like, none of them work together to make our lives easier. My fridge and my microwave, they are my true enemies. And it's just like,
and they are each other's enemies. They will not talk.
Oh, 100%, right? And so it's just kind of like demanding me to give them all of this data as a barrier to entry. And for what? And for why?
And for what? And I want to get into that, but first, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the reason we are being asked to log into so many things and what, if anything, we can do to ungatekeep the internet.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Your local Benjamin Moore retailer is more than a paint expert. They're someone with paint in their soul, a sixth sense honed over decades. And if you have a question about paint, it's almost as if they can read your mind.
I sense you need a 2-inch angle brush for the trim in your family room. Regal selected an eggshell finish and directions to the post office.
Benjamin Moore paint is only sold at locally owned stores. Benjamin Moore. See the love.
Hey there! If you're a regular listener who enjoys ICYMI, it would mean the world if you gave us a 5-star rating or review on Apple or Spotify. Every episode of ICYMI is different, from Love Island's toxic relationship with social media to taking deep dives into the drama within online fandoms. Sometimes, though, that means our episodes can become parts of those stories, resulting in negative reviews from people who aren't actually listeners. That's why it's so important for the real ICYMI heads to be represented in these ratings. If that's you, it would be great if you could show us some love. All right, back to the episode. And we're back, and I want to start with a clip that I always think of when I think about this conversation. It's from comedian John Early, his HBO special, Now More Than Ever. Yeah, love him. And so he's talking about that moment when you download an app and your phone asks you, hey, can we track activity across other apps and websites? And usually there's 2 options. Allow, which seems soft and pillowy, but it's actually kind of submissive and rights infringing. But they don't want you to know that. So allow is just this beautiful word. The alternative, well, I'm gonna let John take it from here.
The other option is ask app not to track. Ow. You know what? Ask Ask app not to track. Ask. Wait. Ask app not to track. It's like ask app not to track. You know, Apple poured billions of dollars into researching like what is the single most suicidal sequence of monosyllabic sounds.
It's so wild, but not, because that special came out in like 2023. John Early was probably working on that on the road for like a year plus, and we're still dealing with it.
Yeah, just as relevant.
Right? I mean, what he's really getting at is how our relationship to apps is kind of based on manipulation. So, if we hate all this, why is it just getting more and more aggressive? Like, what do companies gain from this?
Yes. So, I have to admit this logging in conundrum didn't come out of nowhere, didn't come out of me just getting lost in the woods. I actually wrote about it for my Substack Embedded, mostly to just rant and rave, but also to kind of look into exactly this question. Like, why is this happening? Surely it's not just to be annoying. And it comes down to data and data privacy. Like what John Early is talking about there is actually really relevant to this, where it's like, if you're allowing an app to track information on your phone, you're giving them access to all of these data points that they then sell to advertisers. So, I mean, just logging in general, you're giving your name and your email. So, and that's why you log into something and now suddenly you're on Chipotle or whatever's email list, even though you didn't actually like sign up. Like that's already valuable to them. But then apps can access other things on your phone. They can access your contacts and who else you're talking to and like what kind of device you have. If you have location services turned on, they like know where you are. And so then advertisers want that information because they want to reach people for whom their advertisement is like the most relevant. And so they're most likely to, click it. And so you might notice on Uber, if you're like waiting for it to find you a car, an ad just now plays with that dead air. And that ad was targeted towards you based on the data that Uber has, like on your age, where you're located, but also like the places you go.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying this because I was literally standing next to you last week. We were all at a party when I saw this happen to you on your phone. Like, it's affecting my coworkers, my friends.
It's so nice to sort of portray me as a victim in this when this was me like coming up to you and going, I gotta go. I cannot be here any longer.
I know. So basically, like, Kate and I were going to go to a Love Island watch party. Kate rightfully tapped out. And you were bombarded with this ad.
Yeah, I know. To make matters worse. But it's kind of funny because, all this is about data and we're kind of, the companies, these apps are like the middlemen because we give them the data, they then can sell the data.
Right.
And as people have realized the value of their data, it's like, wait, why am I letting, Uber or whatever make money from me? I can just sell the data myself. And this is something that Axios reported on. They referred to it as selling data is becoming the new selling plasma, where it's like, let me just mine myself for whatever you'll pay for. So this company called Generation Lab offers people cash, $50 or more per month, depending on how you use it and other factors, to download a tracker onto their phones that just follows you around. So the product takes about 90 seconds to download. Once it's on your phone, tracks things like what you browse, what you buy, which streaming apps you use, all anonymously. And so you don't really have to do anything. You just have to let it violate your privacy. I don't know. I would do something like that if rather than $50, I gave my data in exchange for like being exempt from any other logins and apps moving forward. It's like, you can have my data. You don't, and so no more of this. Just let me Google something without interruption.
I first off want to say, know your worth. $50 is not enough.
I know.
$50
I was like, that's really
enough.
low because people can use it kind of like ChatGPT. Like an advertiser can be like, oh, what are women between the ages of 18 and like 30 like watching on Netflix or whatever,
right.
or like what products are they buying, and it just tells them, and that's such valuable information. $50.
I know. And two, like if you're one of those people who won't even give your mans your passcode,
oh my God,
this is another level. Okay.
Yeah.
The amount of trust that you're giving to a nameless entity.
I know.
You need to millennial pause on that.
For $50.
Yeah, it's not enough. I mean, I think what we're kind of circumventing is this question that I have, which is, Do you think things like this are growing our hostility to our technology? Like, do you think this stuff makes us angrier about using technology, period?
I mean, I think it speaks to the sentiment we were talking about earlier on, which is just like what the internet used to be versus what it is now. And now, I mean, we're running up against this. We are both like savvy of all these tactics and yet still so surrounded by them.
Yes.
And so it's like, we know, like I know what Google is doing by the way that it's set up those buttons and one being blue and how it's kind of misleading but technically correct to get me to click on something that would take me to an app. Like, and so there is this level of like, we're all sharing our space here. We just want to talk to our friends and post funny videos. They want to make money. And there are moments where we can make that work to our advantage. But yeah, I would say it's not angry, but it is like, I see you. You see me everywhere I go, but I also see you doing it.
I think I would also ask, like, will companies go too far in asking for our data that we all collectively decide not to interact anymore? Like, do you think this is the last straw for some people when it comes to how many apps are on their phone? Like, I don't know. Are there people who are kind of like, I just think we need to dump smartphones completely? We're going iPod Touch.
iPod Nano.
Yeah.
No, I think why we're feeling this frustration now is that up until, like, they've been kind of able to thread the needle. They've been able to ask us to download apps without it being, like, too overwhelming. But they've kind of gone overboard. Like, number one, no one likes being tricked. And, like, that is kind of due to oversaturation, what it feels like companies are doing when you think you're clicking one thing and then you're in the app store. It's like, even if I was gonna get the app through, like, if you just asked me, I won't now because I don't like how you got me to do this. And so I think that's gonna cause like a bad association with your company if people feel like they're being tricked. And then, you know, everyone has kind of figured out that they need app downloads or that they need data. And so it's also just happening all at once. And so it's like too much. And I think, you know, we need technology to do so much in our everyday life, but we also like don't have to be on it as much as we are. And if the more unpleasant they make the experience, the less we're going to use it and then the less money they're going to make. And so it actually like behooves these companies to stop being goddamn annoying.
Yeah. I think this also is a lot about like, what are the sacrifices we need to make to kind of have an ethical relationship with the apps we download? I mean, what's also annoying about just the experience you had in the woods, right? Is that like these barriers meet you when you actually need to access a service, i.e. when you're about to be chased by a bear, you need to download an app to get a map. It adds these bottlenecks. It adds these problems. It happens when you have the worst Wi-Fi, almost no battery. You are just trying to use Google Maps to go home at 1 a.m. Like, these inconveniences make our IRL lives worse, even dangerous, maybe.
Yeah. And so you stop seeing the app that like is supposed to provide a service as providing that service. Like, it is bad. I know they want the data for advertising, but it is bad advertising. And then the bad advertising gets in the way of us even using the app in the first place.
And the product itself is the worst PR. And so it's making our relationships to our phones and the companies on them worse. I would ask this. Sad news. You and me alone might not be able to fix this. Hey.
Might not. I haven't ruled it out. We haven't seen how people react to this episode. Maybe Google goes, you know what? You're right.
They're so right. We need to have a meeting about this, but I have a feeling we alone cannot fix this. Are there people trying to stop this? Are there people who are effectively, purposefully trying to log us out?
Yeah, and I think the good news is that even though it doesn't always feel like it, there is a whole organization dedicated to standing up for what's right when companies and products are being annoying, and that is the FTC. So in 2023, they sued Amazon. They accused Amazon of tricking people into buying Prime subscriptions and making them purposefully hard to cancel. And one of the ways they allegedly did this was they'd be like, oh, here are all the ways you can buy this product using Prime, but they didn't show any of the options to buy the product without Prime, which you could do, but they made it seem like you could only do it with Prime. Another issue came down to buttons, like we were talking earlier, literally button design, that there was a button you had to click to finish your purchase, but it didn't clearly state that if you clicked that button, it would sign you up for Prime. So Amazon denied doing this, of course, but actually a week ago, a judge in Seattle accused Amazon of withholding documents in this case and that it was tantamount to bad faith. And so Amazon accused the FTC of dragging this out, but it does sound like so far they are not letting Amazon off easy, even though the FTC isn't doing great under the Trump administration. Not at all. So progress will be slow, but there are people fighting the good fight.
Yeah. And I think what this comes down to is just the fact that, like, we used to use the internet with the benefit of letting companies have our data. Now, I think it's the reverse of, like, we have to sell our data in order to use the internet. The internet went from a good to an increasingly paywalled service, and it is just not a place for fun anymore.
Yeah, and I would actually say this like relentless, desperate call for people to log in or download the app is a part of enshittification, which is a term that was coined by Cory Doctorow, who has been on the show before. And the term is basically an encapsulation of the way all platforms just kind of decay and get worse. And, you know, as we were saying, like enshittification of platforms, people stop using them. It's been enshittified. So if enshittification is the cause, the effect is us leaving. Like we were saying earlier, you don't have to keep using these apps if they're giving you a bad experience. But I think what's difficult in this case is it's not like any alternatives are popping up, nor would they be incentivized to. Because even though we're like, I want a platform that doesn't make me log in or force me to download an app, those things are also crucial for like a company to stay afloat if we want to use the product for free. And so what I would say is that actually, if you hate this, maybe think about alternative models you could participate in, because there is not a world in which the internet is just free for us. Like obviously it's free to access websites, but we pay, in quotes, by logging in, consuming ads, them selling our data. So if you don't want that to happen, a different way of paying could be with actual money. So that's subscription services or paywalls, or like a while ago, Candice, you and I promoted this app called Letterloop that we really like personally promoted. We were using it. Yeah. That is, after a certain amount, paid. But they do that because it's like, okay, I don't want them selling my data of all the different things I've been up to in a month and how I talk to my family. But they do need to make money to stay afloat. And so that's one option. I will say, though, have you noticed, and this is something that Amazon Prime did, not to like, I was going to say not to bully Amazon Prime, but they can handle it. You know, that you are paying for the streaming service to not have ads. And then actually now there's ads and you have to pay a bit more. Again, enshittification.
Yeah, no, it's like hearing ads on podcasts that you're already subscribed to. Like what?
Yeah, it's like you actually already got me. I'm here.
And don't even get me started on the Amazon Prime. Peacock does this too. In fact, don't even get me started on Netflix.
I will not. You know what?
Finally coming for me and my household, cracking down on the passwords I share with my family. This is a genuine thing I am dealing with. Please tell me if you can help me.
It is cruel and unusual punishment. It is against the spirit of family.
There you go.
What do you mean I'm going to pay for Netflix? My sister's going to pay for Netflix. My mom, they're going to, at a certain point, they're going to make my mom and dad pay for separate Netflixes, even though they're in the same household. I just know it.
And what's the point of marriage, right? What's the point of marriage?
What is marriage if not a shared Netflix account? Exactly.
Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Vic Whitley-Berry, Candice Lim, and me, Kate Lindsay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer. Mia Lobel is Slate's executive producer of podcasts. And Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
And not tracking my iPhone.
Want to live better? We got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.